Welcome to your Montana Legislature Week in Review, brought to you by MPAN, the Montana Public Affairs Network. It's the end of the 6th week of the 69th Montana legislative session. First, let's revisit a few moments from the end of last week.
I move that we refer the current ethics investigation into the actions of the senator from Senate District 43 to the Department of Justice, and that the Ethics Committee temporarily suspend their work pending the results of the Department of Justice findings. Our Ethics Committee is not equipped or designed to deal with criminal actions. And it is absolutely consuming those that are trying to serve on that committee and do the rest of their jobs here. And it's coming at the cost of what is, I think, our legitimate work in this body.
I want to point out very clearly this motion is, frankly, it's unconstitutional. Article 5, Section 10 allows the legislature to police its own. That's what the Ethics Committee is doing. We are not looking, we have been very clear from the get-go, we are not, the Ethics Committee is not looking at this in any criminal sense of the word. This is disingenuous, frankly, and it's insulting.
That's unprecedented for the DOJ to take up an investigation without an official charge. There's no charge here. I don't even know how the Senate can ask the DOJ to do something like this.
What I see today from this motion is politics. The politics of moving it over to the Department of Justice will just run this out past the session. That's all this is about. Purely politics.
We are not eliminating the work of the Ethics Committee. We're temporarily suspending the work, referring it to the Department of Justice, let them do the work, and then we can continue our work based on the results of their investigation.
Okay, so we are on the original motion. The original motion is to suspend the ethics investigation and ask to refer to DOJ. Those in favor of the motion vote aye. Those opposed vote no. Has every member voted? Does any member wish to change his or her vote? If not, the Secretary record the vote.
Mr. President, 27 senators voted aye, 22 have voted no.
With 27 voting yes and 22 voting no, the motion has passed. Without objection, we'll go to our business number 12, announcement of committee meetings. Senator Mandeville.
Section A will meet tomorrow at 9 o'clock. Local government won't meet tomorrow, and apparently you guys are going to tell me what to do with my other committee, so it doesn't really matter, does it?
I'm a little disturbed, I'm a little upset, and disappointed with this body.
I hope you all can sleep well tonight for those of you who decided to sweep this under the rug.
All 50 of us have seen probably what the worst of politics looks like. And you all know what part you played in this.
This is bad. This is bad for the people of Montana. This is bad for our state. This is corruption.
I think it makes a lot of sense to send this to the chief officer in Montana to criminally investigate this. It doesn't inhibit our ability to reconvene the Ethics Committee. It doesn't inhibit the ability to do anything by this body.
The second allegation is called official misconduct. It is a criminal offense. So when we're talking about moving this to the Attorney General's office, that is an entity that investigates criminal offenses.
My motion today was not to in any way impugn the integrity of this body or any members. I appreciate the comments that were made. I understand the frustration, but the reality is we are not looking away from what has been alleged. We are putting it in the hands of the rightful entity to fully investigate and prosecute as needed.
Members of the committee, you now have before you for your consideration Senate Bill or House Bill 121.
House Bill 121, titled Provide Privacy in Certain Restrooms, Changing Rooms, and Sleeping Quarters, was heard on second reading in the Senate on Monday.
So I just want to remind everyone what this bill actually does. It is asking trans men with beards to go into bathrooms with women and girls. Think about how uncomfortable that is.
I can't have my little granddaughters worrying about going into a stall and then coming out and have the potential of being accosted. Can't have that.
House Bill 121 have been read through several times. The question is, should bill be passed by the Senate? All those in favor vote aye, and those opposed vote no. Has every member voted? Does any member wish to change his or her vote? If not, Secretary, record the vote.
The bill now heads to the governor's desk for signature. The governor said in his State of the State address that he would sign it.
MPA is a structured framework that lets the public weigh in and participate in government decision-making, specifically on projects that need permitting because they have potential to hurt the environment.
MPA, the Montana Environmental Policy Act, was the subject of debate on both the House and Senate floors on Wednesday.
Madam Chair, House Bill 285 takes a bold step towards restoring clarity, efficiency, and purpose to the Montana Environmental Policy Act, or MPA. For far too long, MPA has been bogged down by vague language, legal redundancies, and confusion about its role. What was designed to be a procedural tool for transparency and information decision-making process over the years has been twisted into something that it was never meant to be. House Bill 285 fixes that.
House Bill 285 undermines the purpose of MPA, which is to analyze and disclose the potential impacts from proposed projects that could harm air, water, land, wildlife, plant foods and medicines, cultural and historical resources.
And when we're talking about MPA, it's always really easy to fall into the familiar jobs versus environment dichotomy. I know that every single person in this body knows that both jobs and the environment are important to Montana. But it's a hard, messy conversation to have. Where do you put the balance between jobs and environment? Different people would put it in different places. That's why we have MPA. So we have a structured way set out in law to have that conversation.
This bill will make MPA more procedural and not so regulatory. This bill was supported by most industrial groups and most agriculture groups. So I urge you to pass. Thank you.
Madam Chair, 58 representatives have voted aye, 42 have voted no.
You can track these bills on the legislature's Bill Explorer as they continue through the legislative process.
We love our Constitution. We love our Constitution. We love our Constitution.
Montanans rallied in the Rotunda on Thursday to show their support of the Montana Constitution.
People sometimes think constitutions give us rights, but constitutions are perhaps better understood as statements on the limitations of power and what are inalienable rights we have and which rights the government has to keep its hands off of.
No person or persons charged with the exercise of power properly belonging to one branch can exercise any power properly belonging to either of the others. Yet, in spite of those very clear constitutional prohibitions, some legislators have charged ahead with an unbridled enthusiasm and proposed 27 different encroachment bills that aim to strip, mutate, or diminish the powers allocated to the judicial branch.
In some languages, the word for referee is the same word as the word for judge. Now, referees are not always right, and neither are judges. But one thing that you can be sure about is that both referees and judges stand up for a job where they know that they're going to get yelled at, and they're going to be asked to make some tough calls, to make some tough decisions. Do we want a person who's already wearing a Grizz jersey to be the person who's making the calls in the Cat Grizz game? I love somebody honest. He says yes. Montana, Montana, glory of the West, of all the states from coast to coast, you're easily the best. Montana, Montana, where skies are always blue, and O-N-T-A-N-A. Montana,
for now. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and check out the links below. Until next week, enjoy some lighter moments from this week.
So it's a very, very solid amendment. And with that, Your Honor, Your Honor, with that, Mr. Chair,
it's about time.
Judge Hinkle presided. With that, Mr. Chair, the only other thing I'd add.
Tomorrow, the spouses are having a cookie deal out at the fan window, and it's Valentine's Day, so if you are paying attention, you probably get your bride or your husband a cookie. Thank you.
Senator Zolkow.
Thank you, Mr. President. No Senate Energy, and thanks to Senator Temple's announcement, now I know what to do. My wife, get her some cookies. All right, thank you.
Senator Hertz.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would advise the young senator behind me to think more than just cookies. But your tax committee number 1.